Hello and welcome to the True North Show. I'm your host, Megan North, and I'd like to thank our sponsors of the show, Quantum Awakening, Beth Lewis, Anne C. Clark, and our lovely guest who paid to be featured on this episode. Today, I am joined by a woman who embraces her authenticity in every conversation and interaction she has. And when she and I first met, I think we could have sat and spoken for hours. Kris Vallay, or KV, is an unapologetically honest writer, podcaster, and truth teller, known for her radical take on sex, self-love, and authentic presence. The author of The One, a raw, powerful memoir that strips back societal shame around women's pleasure, Kris has quickly become a fierce voice for women everywhere who are done hiding. A solo parent to 4 neurodivergent children, Kris blends fierce advocacy with deep emotional intelligence, using humour and lived experience to open taboo conversations. As co-host of the Sex and the One podcast, she continues to dismantle outdated ideas around love, dating, and female desire, one spicy, soulful conversation at a time. Kris's audience spans women seeking empowerment, men who want to understand intimacy beyond the surface, and the sex-positive communities. Through every word and mic drop, she reminds us that authenticity is our greatest power, and we don't need to apologise for wanting more. Kris operates in all areas, from a deeply spiritual root system that has been continually and consistently downloaded and acclimated over the years. She uses all of her gifts and intuition to guide her life in every area as a truly embodied soul. Welcome to the show. I am so thrilled that you are joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome.
What an introduction.
I know. How does that feel when I read that out?
It feels quite surreal, to be honest. Yeah. I have tears in my eyes.
Oh, that's nice. It's lovely. It's really interesting because I often ask my guests how they feel when I intro them, because we don't often hear someone else talk, like say our bio usually. Like we usually write it and we sort of read it, but to actually sit and listen and hear someone saying it, it's actually a really nice reflection tool.
Yeah, it is. And it's a nice little recap of, all the things that have led us to where we're here today. So,
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the show is called The True North Show, and I dive into passion and purpose. So when I talk about what was the defining moment that led you to pursue your true passion and purpose, what would you say your true passion and purpose is?
Interesting. My true passion and purpose is to experience as much joy as possible.
Wow.
So joy has been my life goal now I'm 53 years old. It's been my life goal for 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what was that defining moment? Like obviously 21 years ago, something happened that you thought the joy has gone out of my life, or I need more joy in my life?
Well, interesting. I found myself, I had 2 little children. I had my third was like the first 3 were diagnosed with autism, and I was pregnant, 8 months pregnant with the 4th. And my third child was nonverbal and incredibly interesting behaviours, we shall say, a lot of violence, and, it quite misunderstood we weren't aligned, myself and my young boy, because I didn't understand his world. And I went to seek the help of a healer to try and work out what I was going to do. And she kind of tuned into him at the time and said to me, "Oh, he's flapping. Oh, gee, he's happy. Oh, I can feel I can feel his happiness from here. Like he is a really, truly, he's here to open people's hearts and to spread more joy in the world. And I heard the word joy and I went, oh, and just in that moment, I mean, it was probably more than one moment, but now I can collectively describe it as one moment. I went, oh, I get it. My son has experienced more joy at 2 than I had ever experienced in my entire life at all. Like as a child, as an adult, I had not experienced the joy he experienced. And I went home and coincidentally, it just happened to be a day that he was doing, he was doing really well and he was quite happy. And I watched him play with a piece of Play-Doh, like you manipulate a piece of Play-Doh in his hands for 2 hours, just in awe of the Play-Doh. He just thought it was the best thing ever.
Wow.
And like, the previous me from yesterday would have thought, oh no, what am I going to do with this kid who just wants to play with Play-Doh all day? The next day I'm like, how cool is it that he can do that? What a legend. And I went, I want to be like you. So I wanted to be like him. I decided he was my teacher and I was the student, and I flipped the script. And that's where my journey began.
And did your relationship with him change in that instant as well?
Yes, absolutely. Immediately. Everything was lifted. I just saw everything through a different lens. So every time he was happy, I made sure to join in on his happiness. If he started jumping up and down, I would start jumping up and down as well. I'm like, what is so happy? I don't know, but I'm down. And I just stopped needing him to be like everyone else. I stopped needing him to speak. I stopped needing him to stop being embarrassing in public. I just stopped. I stopped all of the things that you're taught as a mother. When you have kids and they go, I just want my kid to be happy and healthy, but they don't really. You don't really. You want them to win all the races and be the smartest kid in school, and you want them to, eat their lunch, and you want them to say yes and no and like do all the things that you want them to do. And you want to be able to ring up your friends and go, my child, they're on level 15 at reading. And I had this child who was completely nonverbal, who didn't adhere to any of society's normal sort of like things, and yet he was happier than anyone else I knew. And so it was a journey, obviously, but I had this was one of my children. I had 4 like this. So all very different children, all very interested in their own needs. And they will make sure that their needs are met. And so it had been previously a battle of the wills. I was like, you're going to eat that carrot. Like, I have decided I'm the mother. You need to eat carrots. And that's it. And I would sit there and I'd have this war over this carrot. I never won any of the wars. You create a war, you won't win a war. Peace is what we're looking for.
And so I could imagine in that moment and that time as well that your son, your 2-year-old son at that point, probably taught you just presence.
Absolutely.
We're at this moment and it is what it probably, if you could speak, it'd be like, it is what it is, Mum.
Yeah.
Chill out.
Well, he would just like stop randomly and look at something and then just start laughing, like start giggling. He would just experience joy in every moment, like whenever the moments he could. And then alternatively, which was really great to watch, to be honest with you, in the end, he would also get really angry. So if something really annoyed him or something happened, like, the power went off, something I couldn't control, and he wanted to watch TV, he would absolutely flip his switch and he would release all of the anger that he had inside of him until it was gone. And I'm going, like the skeptic in me is going, oh, well, whatever. But the soul, my soul that was starting to be awakened, and like my intuitive, like knowing, and, all of the things that start to wake up in you, I'm going, this is why autistic people, and I'm just making this up at this point, this is not a statistic, but I feel like they would have less cancer because they feel all the emotions
Yeah.
out.
Mm.
It's gone. I
Yeah.
watched them do it, and then they just, like all of my kids, they just released it.
Yeah.
And you go, this is magic, like,
Mm.
because it's innate,
Yeah.
because no one else is teaching them. They don't care what anyone else thinks.
Yeah.
My son, the third boy, Michael, he learnt to talk off the TV when he was 8. So he's got an American accent.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Because he wasn't listening to anyone else around him. He's listening to his own self.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the TV, obviously.
Wow. And so what was it particular that he was watching? Was it just a lot of American shows, or was there
Yes.
something in particular? Right. Okay.
And he would watch, I mean, the classic movies, Ice Age, Shrek, like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, like Disney Channel, like all the kids'
Yeah.
stuff. He would just
Yeah.
watch on repeat. And to be honest with you, we didn't know how much he was taking in. Like we didn't know what he was absorbing. But it was one of those things that, again, with the intuition, I knew never to talk about him in front of him, because I suspected that he was able to understand it all, and he was. He'll tell you now. He remembers everything.
Yeah. 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 And so with this 21 years ago, okay, everything that I'm going to do, I'm just going to pursue joy in everything that I do. So what happened? Like, what was that change? Did you change your job? Did you change your career, your focus, or
Well,
all of the above?
yeah, interesting. Yes, yes, and yes. But obviously over time. So this was when I was 8 months pregnant with my youngest. I had him, and then I decided I had been working up until like outside of the home after the first 3. And by the time I had my 4th, and then, they were all diagnosed with autism. There was just I lived in what I call now appointment land. Like there was just an appointment every day. We saw the speech therapist, special needs kinder, occupational therapists and whatever. And then I was breastfeeding a kid, bringing him around to all the appointments. So it's one of those things. I decided it was my goal, and at the start it was just pretty much 5-minute intervals whenever I felt like I had time to feel joy. And I didn't really know what it was, to be honest with you. I wasn't raised in joy. That's not something that I felt a lot as a child.
Okay.
And my marriage didn't have a lot of joy in it. Looking back now, I didn't realize that at the time, because I didn't have anything to compare it to until I had this moment. And so it was like, okay, what actually does make me happy? I didn't even know. Didn't even know what it was. And so it was kind of weird stuff at the start. I liked watching the Oprah Winfrey show. Like I just really enjoyed watching Oprah. And I don't know if you ever watched Oprah back in the day. There was a lot of books that she would recommend that are, Gary Sukoff, Eckhart Tolle, and I would buy the books that she recommended on her show, and I'd start reading the books. And the books was, like The Seat of the Soul, like, and your ship's sailing in the thing. And so I'm like, I'm going to call it, I absorbed everything first. Like I kind of went, okay, this feels good. I'm not really sure, but like whatever. And I was also in fight or flight mode for years, because my kids were all like, incredibly enthusiastic about feelings in their life.
Oh, I love the way that you worded that.
and so for a long period of time, it was like, who's fighting who, and like, who do I have to like bear hug and pull off the other one, and like lots of choking and hitting and hair pulling, and tufts of hair pulled out, like it was pretty, like it was not great. But how cool is it that the universe gave me the option to choose the joy in that moment? Because I'm like going through all of this stuff going, okay, what was good about today? And I remember tucking the kids in bed at night saying, what was your favorite thing about today? And they'd be going, there's nothing good about today, and I'd be going, not leaving until you tell me something good about today. So I was just determined to focus on it, but I didn't necessarily know what mine was. I just knew that was the goal. So that kind of happened for quite a few years, I would say. Like when the kids were little, it was just more, what can I do? Absorbing the information and just having the right focus. So I would focus on the great things between the meltdowns, and I'd be like, okay, what is good about today? What is good about the fact that this is happening to me, and how can I enhance the good? And so then I started to go, well, what are my interests? If my kids have got interests, because people with neurodivergence all know about how you have a special interest, like you just like it is inside of you.
Yeah.
I'm like, what would mine be if I had one? And I started doing stuff like I would crochet. So my nana taught me to crochet when I was little, but like I didn't crochet a little bit. I crocheted like 16 hours a day. Like I'm in. Like if I'm in, like for something, I'm in. Candy Crush. I was playing Candy Crush on my phone at one point. And ridiculous hours were spent on this. So I kind of like jumped from thing to thing to thing. And this is why, while I was a stay-at-home mum, and which were the hardest years of my life. People always talk about work. That was the hardest work I've ever done. Yeah. And I will say that till I go to the grave. I don't know how it got twisted. that there was a more difficult thing to do. But anyway, so for me, it was like step. And then once I started to change my internal structure to look for that, then the other things in my life didn't quite fit. So I looked at my marriage and I went, you're not coming on this road. You're not on this road with me. You're not on this joy road. You're looking at all the bad. You're finding this really hard. You're getting really frustrated, and you're like, I don't feel like we're working as a team here. Like, and there was a long period of time where there was just the disconnect in the goal, and I just wasn't willing to change my goal. And because it was working, because it was great.
Like seeing the difference
in the kids, seeing the difference in me. And I watched, and obviously, like, I grew up, I had my kids grow up in the disability community. I knew a lot of disability families. I could see what they were doing versus what I was doing. And I was happy with what I was doing. It was working for me, and I could see like the progress. And so another special gift happened to me in 2010 so my youngest was 6 and my oldest was 12, and I had an intuitive moment, which now I get these, like I'm very
intuitive,
like incredibly intuitive.
Yes.
But in this moment, that was not common back then. My ex-husband actually grabbed his phone, left his phone out to go have a shower, and he never did that. He was always attached to his phone, like weirdly attached to his phone. And I flipped it open, and my whole life changed. So the contents of that phone were evidence of one affair, which turned out to be many affairs over the 19 years we were together. And it's still hard to talk about today, to be honest with you. And everything flipped. And so I had to make some really hard decisions, but they were also really easy decisions. And, started on my journey of being a sole parent, and a sole parent with 4 kids with autism, and a stay-at-home mum at that, is not something you would choose.
No.
You don't go, oh, I just wish this would happen to me. How cool would this be?
Yeah.
You just don't do that.
Yeah.
But I will still tell you that's the best thing that ever happened to me in relation to the journey of where I'm at now.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. It's so lovely hearing you talk about finding those moments of joy each day and sharing that with the children. And because you were basically doing not a gratitude practice, but a joy practice.
Yes.
It's almost the same thing, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. I also had a gratitude journal as well, which is this, it's like they all link, don't they? Yeah.
And I think it's so interesting. I love when you spoke about how the more joy you brought into your life, how things then your perspective changed, and also the energy of people around you changed as well. And I think that that's always really important as healers, is that often we look at external, like I wish this person would change, or I wish that they would change their perspective or their attitude. But actually, when we do the work, then everything naturally around us changes.
Absolutely. And the things that are meant to stay change for the better for you, and the relationship's better. And the things that are not meant to be there fall off, don't serve you. And the lesson is to let it go when you know it's meant to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which took me a while. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. And also, I think also, like, I mean, I even know this now that the more work I do, I always talk to my clients about, if you're leveling up, some people will come with you, some people will fall away, and those that fall away, then it brings in new people at that new level. But it doesn't mean that the people that are falling away, you're joyous about it, because sometimes things make sense and you go, oh, okay, isn't that interesting? I haven't spoken to that person for a while. Obviously, the relationship was one-sided or whatever it is. But sometimes you think, you know what, I'm really looking at this person with a different perspective and I really love them dearly, but I know they're not going to be on my journey. We're humans.
Yes.
And so if none of this bothered us, then actually there'd be a problem.
Absolutely. And also, like, as I'm quite sure you'd be believing of, like, people are mirrors of you. And so if people just like you, if you're going to choose a certain way and grow a certain way, they're no longer your mirror. And so it's really hard to have a relationship with something that you can't see in yourself.
Exactly.
So, I would look at him afterwards and I couldn't see anything that was me.
Yeah.
Like that was, and it's beautiful to let people go and then they go on their own path.
Yeah.
And he's chosen his own journey and I wish him well in that journey. I didn't. Like at the start, obviously.
No.
But now there's just no ill feeling whatsoever because there's no need. Like it's just not necessary to carry
it.
The emotions that you don't need to carry with you.
Yeah. I was talking to someone earlier today and we were talking about the gift that I feel like the biggest gift that you can give yourself is forgiveness. So forgiving yourself and others, and sometimes you may never be able to forgive the person, but at least if you can give yourself the gift of forgiveness, I think it just gives you so much freedom.
Absolutely.
Because you let go of the story, you let go of the narrative. It doesn't define you anymore. There's all of those things. And it's not an easy thing to do.
No.
But there's things that you can do that it's just beautiful to witness for yourself.
Absolutely. And if you make anything the goal, I can make, like, because I've had what I've had happen to me, right? Like, because it's been pretty, like, pretty challenging. I believe in everything now. I can make a goal and I will make it happen. So I remember when I separated, I'm like, I'm going to be upset for 3 months. And like, you can't go 3 months, I'm not upset anymore. But I was like, I'm going to give myself the grace of 3 months of resentment and bitterness and you should have done this and I can't believe you've done this. And I'm just let myself like have the emotions. And then after 3 months, I'm like, okay, Kris, okay, well, we're done with that. We're done. That doesn't serve you. That's not who you want to be. It's not how you want to teach your children to operate in society. You want to teach them that, yes, you can have the emotions. Yes, you want to feel them all, which they obviously taught me. And then you want to move on.
Yeah. I love that. So I'm going to just take this little moment in time just to hear from our sponsors. But when we come back, I'd love to just share, for you to share how through this journey your mental health and well-being has become a priority and what sort of things that you do to look after your mental health and well-being. And if there's any tips that you've got for people that may be a little bit different to others. So we'll take a little break and we'll hear from our sponsors and then we'll come back. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. So, Kris, if we can just dive a little bit into the mental health and well-being aspect of your journey. So, what did you do? Like, how did you maintain your mental health and well-being while you were going through all of this? And even now, as you pursue different passions and purpose and dreams, what do you do for your mental health?
Well, I will tell you, I didn't.
Okay.
For starters,
Yep.
I was diagnosed with depression with two of my children, postnatal depression, and I actually had some antidepressants for quite some time. Quite some
Mhm.
time, I relied on external assistance. So
Yep.
I will say that initially, but it was always obviously the goal that that my body would do what it's meant to do, and it would take over. And so that did happen over time.
Yeah.
And honestly, possibly for the last, I'm going to say at least 10 years, if not 15 years, I have had. Most significantly I would talk about my morning routine. That would be the best way I can uh, sort of encapsulate like
Yeah.
how I take care of myself. Obviously, I'm really careful about the foods I eat. I'm careful about what I drink, the things I put in my body, and
Mm.
also my self-talk, because your self-talk is absolutely everything. And I talk a lot about that in my book, actually, like how I tell myself, I love you, Kris Vallay, like, I don't know, 100 times a day at
Yeah.
least.
Love that.
But like the mental health stuff, like I kind of read a lot of stuff, and I spoke to a lot of people, and I went to a lot of workshops, and you kind of grab what works for you and you add it
Yeah.
in. So I found I was much better to have my own little routines and
Mm.
then add things in, rather than like read something new and go, I'm going to do that, and then you end up never completing it. I'm one of these people, I finish what I start.
Yeah.
So I'm talking 15 years every day. I've given myself 1 hour of power. I call it the hour of power in the morning. And I wake up at 5 a.m.
Mhm.
and I have I go straight into a meditation. So straight into a reflective meditation, grounding, white light, all of that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Then I go through affirmations,
Mhm.
and like it kind of changes a little bit over time, but like generally it's the theme of visualizations. I ask for messages, I ask for
Mhm.
clarity about certain things, and I just be with me
Mhm.
and with no distractions.
Mhm.
This is the first thing I do. Don't talk to anyone, don't get your phone out, that
Yep.
kind of stuff. And I give myself an hour every day. But interestingly, mine is possibly a little more unique than some people's, because I go straight from the visualizations to an orgasm.
Right.
Yeah, every day.
Right. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can confirm that getting out of bed after that,
Yep.
there is no further, there is no more, that is joy.
Yeah. Yep. You've definitely got a spring in your step.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that.
Absolutely. And this is years. I've been doing this for years
Yep.
and years.
Yep.
And, varying people in my life knew about that a long time ago. And now almost everyone in my life knows, due to circumstances. And, but it's just become one of those things, it's one of those things actually that you can't get embarrassed about. You're like, I don't know if I want anyone to know. And now I feel the opposite. I'm like, why aren't you doing it? Like,
Yeah.
not that I mind what anyone else is doing, of course,
Yeah.
but you sort of just go, actually, no, I'm quite proud. I'm quite
Yeah.
proud, because I know that that's going to set me up for the day.
Yeah.
And like obviously throughout the day, you continually check in. I actually have an alarm on my phone at 9 a.m. I start work at 7:30 and
Yep.
I serve people, right? So when you start serving people, sometimes people come in and they're sad, or sometimes people come in and they might upset the energy.
Yep.
And I have an alarm at 9 o'clock that says, which wolf are you feeding?
Oh,
Right?
which wolf are you feeding?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you feed the fear, like how like there's love or fear.
Sure.
So
Yep.
you feed the fear grows. You feed the love grows. So just in case my morning routine has then flipped me back into fear because I'm interacting with people all day, reminds me, reset. I love you, Kris Vallay.
Yeah,
Love
I
you, Kris
love
Vallay.
that.
I'm choosing love. I'm feeding the wolf of love.
Yeah, I love that.
I've got like quite a few things I do that actually make sure that I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, the interesting thing is through all of the learning and everything that I've learned about intuition and spirituality, that the moment of orgasm is the closest that we get as a 3D human to being enlightened as an enlightened being. So it's like that pivotal moment of what it is to be completely enlightened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And interestingly, it's the thing that is most covered in shame, especially for women.
Yeah.
And the thing that you can't talk about, the thing that no one wants to, people only can do under certain circumstances, the thing that has the most rules on it, and the thing that, you know, it's talked about in, you know, quiet circles by, you know, and the thing that often men have, you know, are allowed to do, and women are, you know, it's coming along now, but in the history, it's been very much associated with negative things.
Yeah.
Yet it is the best. It is so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And luckily for me, and I genuinely mean this, I discovered that was my special interest. You know how I was saying my kids have special interests? Like, you know, I didn't know what my joy was. I didn't know what joy was. I didn't know what my purpose was, how I was going to exhibit this joy. The two are connected for me. And so that's how that journey began for what I'm, you know, doing now. Yeah.
And probably very a lot cheaper than Candy Crush.
Yes. Well, and better dopamine, like honestly.
Yeah. Oh, funny. Yeah. And so let's talk about the book. So how did this book come about? Is it because of your morning routine that you started to get downloads about it, or?
No. So how the book came about was I have been famously single on and off for years, right? And when I say famously, people love my stories about dating. And so I had a date one day. It was I was to meet a guy locally on a walk. And I was chatting with him, and we'd arranged to meet at 3:00 in the afternoon at this local walk that was a circle walk. And 10 minutes before the walk, he messaged me to say, "Oh, actually, I'm caught in a bog. Can you come and like get me out of this bog?" And I sort of went intuitively like, "No," and like, I don't think this is not good. And so I just said, "No, listen, that's not going to happen." Like, I said it nicely or whatever, and perhaps we'll meet another day. And I just went off on the walk, and I'm just like, okay, that's not meant for me. I'll just leave that over there. Anyway, 10 minutes later, he messages to say, "Oh, I made it to the walk." And I said, "Well, I'm already on the walk, so, you know, whatever." Anyway, 5 minutes later, I round the corner for this walk, and coming towards me is this guy, naked, completely naked, in the middle of the day, in the middle of winter, on a public walk, right?
Okay.
Yeah. You wouldn't drink, like, you don't, like, if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't believe it, right? And I go, I've got 3 seconds to decide what I'm going to do about this, right? And so I'm like, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And so I'm just like, "Oh, you found it. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's good. Well, I'm walking this way. You're walking that way. So, you know, perhaps I'll meet you another day or whatever." He goes, "Oh, I'll walk back with you." I'm like, "No worries." Anyway, we walk back to the thing. He's wearing nothing. I'm wearing like Michelin outfit, you know, like with the extra coats and stuff. It's June. I'm not like, yes, it was not it was not that kind of a date, if you know what I'm saying. And we get back to the car, and, you know, we started chatting. Anyway, it's a bit of a story, but I went to work the next day, and I'm telling all these people, "Oh my God, this guy was naked on the walk." It became this big, the naked guy, and everyone's going, "Kris, you should write a book about this. You should write a book about all of these dating stories." And I'm like, actually, yeah, I've got a lot. I could definitely write a book about that. Anyway, So what ended up happening after that is, I also, at the same time as I'm telling this, what I think is a funny story, because I didn't feel scared. Like, I didn't feel scared about him rocking up naked. Some people would have, and so I honour that for them. But like, I wasn't scared. I could handle that, no problem. But what people had said to me was, oh, you shouldn't be on the apps. You should stay home. You shouldn't meet guys for dates. You shouldn't do this. And people are trying to tell me not to live my life because for fear that I might meet a man who doesn't treat me well. And I'm like, oh. And then I realized how much I had grown as a person and how much my self-esteem had risen as a result of all of the dating I had done. So I'm very interested in sex and dating and orgasms, right? And I'm starting my journey with a man who cheats on me repeatedly. And then I'm growing and I'm growing and I'm growing and I'm growing. And I'm no longer of the belief that I should have to change my behavior for fear that a man is going to treat me badly. That is not for me to change. That is for men to step up and be better. And so the book became a few funny dating stories mixed with very soulful, really in-depth, vulnerable chat around women's feelings, well, my feelings, obviously, around safety, sex, dating, how I felt about myself, my mirror and how it changed over the years via the man that I could date, right? Because you know how you were saying when people disappear, the next one appears, like the next date appears. They're just like the quality improves, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And it does make sense because I was married for 18 years and then I was on my own for 7 years. And in the 6th year, I met a guy who was just beautiful, lovely man. And we spent about 9 months together. But there was just something that just wasn't right. Like just for me, it just wasn't the perfect relationship. There was a couple of things that I just thought, you know what, I'm going to be compromising on this. And so I made a very tough decision to end our relationship. And I remember that moment of just thinking, you know what, again, like each guy that not that I dated very many, but each time I leveled up to, I'm getting closer and closer and closer. And then when I broke up with him, then it was about, I don't know, 6 to 8 months later that then I met my now second husband. And I just knew from the first moment that I met him, like it was love at first sight for both of us. But I just remember that thinking, oh my gosh, with this other guy, I was like, I'm so close, but you know what? I don't want to compromise. I really don't want to compromise.
No.
And you're right. So you just keep getting better at it, I suppose.
And people do, like all the time. And because they're worried about being alone, because we're taught as a society that you're not complete unless you're with someone else. And they're scared that they'll be alone when if you actually look around, the happiest subset of society is single women.
Single women,
and not that I'm obviously I don't have any issues with relationships either, but like it's a lie that we're fed. And I most certainly was fed this lie for many, many, many years, that I wasn't complete. There was something wrong with me. There was something that was missing because I was single. And yet everyone around me in relationships, I didn't want their relationship. I didn't want what they had. But I wasn't able to fully tune into my intuition actually until I wrote the book, because the book outlined it for me, what I'd learned and how far I'd come. And that's why the book's called The One, because this is the search for my one true love.
Right. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I think it's interesting too, because I think the relationship that you finally find the one is then perfect for you. Like my husband and I always say to each other, you're perfect for me.
Yes.
So we always talk about that you're perfect for me. Our relationship is perfect for each other. It doesn't mean that it's the right type of relationship for anyone else,
No.
but for us, it's perfect.
Yes. And also, what is a relationship? You can go down lots of rabbit holes about that. Like,
Exactly.
how many are you allowed to have?
Yeah.
Because, like, society will tell you, like, you can have 2 marriages. That's okay. But if you have 3, is that too
But
many? You have
ooh,
4,
yeah,
like, and if you experiment sexually when you're a sexual being who that's your special interest,
yep,
is that okay? Are you still a
yeah,
decent human being? Do people still respect you?
yep,
Like, so you can go down lots of rabbit holes
yep,
about that. And like, who really is the one? Like,
yeah,
like you can have relationships in every area of your life that
yeah,
that are so rich and rewarding and feel, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And I think I love that you said too, because I could imagine, I don't know why, but well, I do know why, but I had this vision of you writing some of the book and just channeling a whole heap of stuff as well and
Yes,
thinking, oh my gosh, where did that come from?
yes,
Like
absolutely.
channeling and then reading it back going, oh my goodness.
Absolutely. And interesting, the bits that were obviously it's edited and edited and edited,
Yeah,
right? The bits that were channeled the most just didn't get changed.
yeah, I love
Like
that.
there's full
Good.
chapters in there that never changed. The final chapter never got changed.
Yeah, good.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of what light codes
Yep.
and like people literally change as they read it.
Yeah, I love that. That's
Yeah, like
beautiful.
they awaken the bits that they're supposed to awaken.
Yeah.
There's a lot of script in there that's like underneath the words, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so someone reading the book, what things, what will people get out of reading the book? What sort of feedback have you had from people?
Well, what people have said to me is it releases, like, for the people that have had similar experiences to me, like, and have been experimental in their life, it releases their shame. So that's the most significant.
I felt that.
Yeah,
Mm,
me too.
yeah.
I actually, before I published it, I'm going to cry. Before I published it, I have never been so terrified in my life of what other people are going to think of me. That every single secret I have ever had in relation to personal things that I've done is
Yeah.
in them. Every
Yeah.
single secret. If I was ashamed of it, I wrote it down. If
Yeah.
I was mortified, I wrote it down. And I thought, I am going to sell this to people.
Yeah.
And what are they going to think of me? Like, and I thought, all right, well, I've lost friends before when the kids were diagnosed. I lost friends when I became a single mum.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost friends before. I can do that because, the thing that you were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
I need to do this. I just needed to do this. And this
Yeah.
is where the spirituality comes
Yeah.
in abundance. I'm like, I'm being guided, do it. I'm getting scared or like more terrified every day. And there were times I couldn't breathe at all. Like I'm like, like stopping myself in my daily walks and I couldn't breathe. And interestingly, because I own a smoothie bar, so I went to the smoothie bar. It was like the 6th birthday, and I released the book. I sold it to all of my customers, and then went home for the weekend and went, oh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I came back to work on Monday, and I thought, oh no, I have to see all these people. So you don't get to be an author and get to go, oh,
Yeah. I'm just going to pick
it
it.
out there and I'll go live my little hermit life. No. I'm seeing these people on Monday. And the beautiful thing obviously was not one single friend was lost. My children love me, more than ever. My whole family have been amazing. Not all of them want to read it, of course.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Absolutely, it's okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest anyone reads it that doesn't feel attracted to read it either.
Yeah.
Like, you want to actually feel like it might resonate with you. But definitely, that act released all of the shame that was in the book, and there was a lot of shame.
Yeah.
And I have never felt so free in my entire life.
I love that.
That is joy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's joy.
Absolutely.
And like my girlfriend actually said to me recently, she goes, well, we're out for dinner, and she's like, Kris, there's something different about you. Like, what's going on? Like what's changed? And I go, I ain't got no secrets.
Yeah.
I got no secrets.
Yeah.
I'm walking around And anyone who cares to know can know absolutely everything that I've
Yeah.
ever been ashamed of.
Yeah.
And then that was the mirror I saw in other people. People were coming to me saying, "Oh, Kris, I was so embarrassed by how many men I've slept with, for example, or the thing I put up with this relationship and I'm so embarrassed that like I stayed so long, and just all of the things, because I mean,
Yeah.
I'm with a lot of shame in there. So
Yeah.
there's always an example of something that someone else has done as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing was there were people that had not experienced anything like my life, and they still got something out of it because they relate to the vulnerability.
Yep.
And they relate to the self-esteem and self-worth. So there's a lot in there. It's a lot to unpack.
And I think also is that you releasing the book, again, I feel like that when the people that aren't meant to see or know about the book, that it will never come across their path. Like, I truly trust that the things that we need to be given, the things that we need to be shown, the wisdom that is meant to be shared is shared with us at the right time.
I agree.
And when it's not, it just doesn't come across our path.
No. And if it's not for you, you just know, don't you? Anyway.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. And as you get more developed in it, it's such a fine tuning thing. Like I know which side of the street I need to walk on.
I'm the same in the sense of, like I do a lot of work in corporate, but then I've got a very strong woo side to me as well. But I know, I always say it's like my zone of genius is that I can walk into a boardroom and run a boardroom meeting with high-powered executives, and then an hour later walk out and do an oracle card reading.
Yeah.
But I can read the room to know where I can go with, if I can even talk about any woo stuff or not. But it's not like I'm walking into that boardroom then thinking, right, I'm going to convert them. That is not my zone of genius. It is knowing and picking and knowing what the room is or the audience is, because I'm not here to convert everybody.
No.
As I'm sure you aren't either. It's just sharing
absolutely
who you are and what you are.
Absolutely. And the purpose of my book is to say, this is me and I'm happy with who I am.
Yep.
And the goal is for you to be happy with who you are. Like, you choose what's best for you. And my kids taught me that as well. Like, it's inside of you. The answers are always inside of you. I would absolutely not ever. I actually have a real thing about people when you watch people say, you should do this, you should do, there is no should. No. Everyone needs to resonate with their own frequency and operate out of that mindset, and even with healers and stuff, like I will not go see a healer who tells me what to do.
Same. I'm always so mindful of that. Absolutely. Yeah. Because again, I'm on a different journey to everybody else. If someone wants to come and work with me, if someone wants to read your book, they will when it's the right time. Who are we to say that they should be or that we're telling them what to do? Absolutely.
And this is actually why I started my podcast as well, because the podcast is for a different set of people that are happy to listen to a podcast. It's a little lighter. It's a little like, it's like easier bites for people and a little less, I guess heavy, for want of a better word. And so I offer a different audience or the same messages, which is basically listen to your own intuition. That's the message. You do you. That's the message. And because I'm open with me doing me, they get to feel like they can, because if I can do it, then they can do it too.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's 8 billion people in the world. How do you expect that you're that one person that's going to be right for everybody? It's just impossible.
Absolutely.
I'm actually shocked even saying this, that we've only got a couple of minutes left. I just looked at the time. I thought, oh, my goodness.
My wordy lordy.
So I'm going to ask you the same question that I love to ask all of my guests before we finish this conversation. So what is one lesson or truth that you've learned on your journey that you wish you had known earlier?
Everything happens in divine timing.
You
find out stuff when you want to. And sometimes you learn something and then you relearn it, and then you have to relearn it again just in case you
Mm.
didn't learn it the first 2 times, and
Yeah.
then you get hit in the face with it. And you're like, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't regret any of that. I had
Yeah.
I had an incident really recently that was not fun, and I even during the incident I was like, yeah, I get it. This is like I get it.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
all the emotions serve a purpose, and
Yeah.
every in time serves a purpose. So no, nothing.
Yeah. Thank you. That's beautiful. I've got a client that I'm working with at the moment, and sometimes I ask her a question. She's like, well, that's the baseball bat to the head that I needed. Because it's just like whack.
Like whack. And don't we love people in our lives that do that, that serve
Yeah.
that purpose for us? Because I certainly do.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Kris, thank you so much for joining us today. I have really enjoyed this time together, and I really want to particularly thank you for just showing people who are going to watch and listen to this that being authentic, it's okay, that the world doesn't end if you're going to be authentic and just step into your power and empower yourself. So thank you for all of this work that you do and everything that you share.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. And I'd also like to thank all of our amazing and dedicated audience, our supporters, and our sponsors. And I hope that you all have an amazing rest of the week. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. And again, thank you so much, Kris.
Thank you.
Thank you.